Now, let's take slavery. African Americans. Okay, they worship other gods. They was powerful. Our gods were, they say their gods were powerful, but their gods allowed them to be overtaken. There were no gods. Their witchcrafts and their enchantments and didn't work. Right. But the Lord beholds, the book was created. The book was created. And somehow it got into the hands of slaves. The slaves started calling upon the Lord. And change started happening. Not the ways of the, and some people held on to the whole old ways and spread them through generation to generation. But look at the facts. That book delivered you. Delivered our ancestors. We know it for a fact. What was Martin Luther King? Do your real history. See if they believe in God or not. See where their concept of thinking comes from. God always put a judge out there. One form or other. You understand? And it came to pass when the judge was dead that they returned to corrupting themselves more than their fathers, and following other gods to serve them and to bow down unto them. They ceased not from their own doings, not from their stubborn way. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he said, because that this people have transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice, I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died, that through them I may prove Israel, whether they will keep the way of the Lord, to walk therein, as their fathers did keep it, or not. Let's go back again. And that God shall be a snare unto you. Why? Let's separate the real from the fake. Therefore the Lord left those nations without driving them out hastily, neither delivered he them into the hand of Joshua. Let's read some more. And these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them, as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan, only that the generation of the children of Israel might know, to teach them war, and the least such as before knew nothing thereof, namely 5 lords of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites, and the Sidonians, and the Hivites, and the dwelt in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal-Hermon unto the entering in of Hamath. And they were to prove Israel by them, to know whether they would hearken unto the commandments of the Lord, which he commanded their father by the hand of Moses. Why does God allow a lot of things to happen? Why do we do a lot of things? I was reading for Joshua. What was Ezekiel, listening to it, and he was saying, like God's judgment. They was talking about God's judgment, like comparing it to man's. Like, is he equal? Is he, it's crazy. You see, we'll accept God as long as everything going smooth for us and we allowed to do what the hell we want to do. God is great. But when God says he's slow to anger and he finally gets upset, hey, I got to cleanse the land again. I got to send a change in. He might send a change in the form of a Donald Trump. Might send a change in the form of a Barack Obama, who knows? In the form of a Joe Biden. They said the Lord sets one up and puts down another. We already know Nebuchadnezzar was not a follower of God, but we also know that he was a servant of God. That God's hand was with him to allow him to do all the things that he did. And that's the same with every ruler in this world. Why would God allow that? Well, why would we continue to rebel against him. You see, the thing is, God believes in mass punishment. I can't just correct one person. That's not going to do anything because the land is greatly defiled. But I understand this concept because in the military, we didn't get just one person messed up. The whole group got punished. So that's cool with me. It's not cool with most people. Well, I worship God. I do the right thing. Well, keep doing the right thing. The righteous will suffer. This is hell here, boy. This ain't heaven. It's hell on earth. You understand? Stay the course. And the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, Hittites, and Amorites, and Perizzites, and Hivites, and Jebusites. And they took their daughters to be their wives, and gave their daughters to their sons, and served their gods. This is the key part. And served their gods. And served their gods. I really don't think God gives a care about who you marry. But there's a reason why he wants you to marry certain people. Because you know a lot of the hearts of men and women are weak. And we love to please. Well, he worshiped that. Well, maybe to be a one accord, I'm going to start doing what they do. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and forgot their Lord their God and served Baalim and the groves. I always try to figure out what they were talking about with these groves and stuff. But you know, in China, I went to do a customer house. They had just moved into a new house. And I saw a garden there. I'm like, what is this? You know, in the midst of the garden, right on a little pedestal, I see Buddha in a grove. I'm like, is that what we talking about? Y'all better pay attention. Therefore, the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he sold them into the hand of Shushan Rishathaim, king of Mesopotamia. And the children of Israel served Shushan Rishathaim 8 years. What happened? They were delivered into the hand to serve a ruler that didn't worship God. And when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord raised up a deliverer to the children of Israel who delivered them. Even Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he judged Israel and went out to war, and the Lord delivered Shushan Rishathaim, king of Mesopotamia, into his hands. And his hand prevailed against Shushan Rishathaim. Don't you see the pattern? Why are we so impressed? Why are we all oppressed, people? If that's the case, if African Americans are the true people of God, but like I told you in history, to give you a history lesson, it's not a lineage alive that's not been enslaved. You know why? Because every lineage was created by God. And every lineage, ancestry, rebelled against God. So why the world is so messed up? Because we turned from the Most High God. Does it care what color you are? You can go look up Irish history, Jewish history, Chinese history, Thai history, Mexican history, European history. It's always the same. The more we forsake God, the more we get delivered. A lot of times by our own people. And sometimes we're enslaved by other people. Why? And our land had rest 40 years. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, died. The judge died. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord strengthened Eglon. The Lord strengthened who? Eglon, the king of Moab. against Israel. Who strengthened them? The Lord. Because they had done evil. He even gave you an answer. Why did I strengthen them? Because they had done evil in the sight of the Lord, and gathered to him the children of Ammon and Amalek, and went and smote Israel, and possessed the city of palm trees. So the children of Israel served Eglon, the king of Moab, 18 years. But when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, the Lord raised them up a deliverer. It's been many. Many messiahs. Now y'all ain't hearing me. One Messiah. Deliverers. Been many. Lord raised them up a deliverer. Ehud, the son of Jerah, a Benjamite, a man left-handed, and by him the children of Israel sent a present unto Eglon, the king of Moab. But Ehud made him a dagger, which had 2 edges, of a cubit length, and he did gird it under his raiment upon his right hand. And he brought the present unto Eglon, king of Moab, and Eglon was a very fat man. When he had made an end to offer the present, he sent away the people that bare the present, but he himself turned again from the quarries that were by Gilgal, and said, I have a secret errand unto thee, O king, who said, keep silence. And all that stood by him went out from him. And Ehud came unto him, and he was sitting in a summer parlor, which he had for himself alone. And Ehud said, I have a message from God unto thee. He rose out of his seat, and Ehud put forth his hand and took the dagger from his right thigh and thrust it into his belly. And he also went in after the blade, and the fat closed upon the blade, so that he could not draw the dagger out of his belly, and the dirt came out. Then Ehud went forth through the porch and shut the doors and the parlor upon him and locked them. When it was gone out, his servants came, and when they saw that, behold, the doors of the parlor were locked, they said, surely he covered his feet in his summer chamber. And they tarried till they were ashamed. And behold, he opened not the doors of the parlor. Therefore they took a key and opened them, and behold, their Lord was fallen down dead on the earth. How did God deliver? Many different ways. And it came to pass when he was come that he blew a trumpet in the mountain of Ephraim, and the children of Israel went down with him from the mount, and he before them, and he said unto them, follow after me, for the Lord had delivered your enemies, the Moabites, into your hand. And they went down after him, and took the fords of Jordan toward Moab, and suffered not a man to pass over. And they slew of Moab at that time about 10,000 men, all lusty and all men of valor, and there escaped not a man. So Moab was subdued that day under the hand of Israel, and the land had rest 80 years. And after him was Shamgar, the son of Anaph, which slew of the Philistines 600 men with an ox goad. And he also delivered Israel. Chapter 4. And the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord when Ehud was dead. And the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazor, the captain of whose host was Sisera, was dwelt in Hazor of the Gentiles. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, for he had 900 chariots of iron, and 20 years he might oppress the children of Israel. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapitoth, she judged Israel at the time. A woman. I wonder why. I'm going to stop there, but I ain't finished. Stop there, people. All kind of things get turned upside down when you keep rebelling against the Lord. Now you got a woman in control. Now we got a woman vice president. Now we got a woman mayor, a governor. God allows these things to happen. That doesn't make it right. A woman can be a prophetess. And I'm not saying the woman was evil. No. But when the world starts being turned upside down, things change. He said, I was reading in the Bible, he said, behold, all my servants, and they are men. Read your word. You'll find out why a lot of things are happening in this world. Because we are rebellious as a group. We are rebellious. But the thing is, how can you stop yourself from perishing with a rebellious nation or rebellious people? You stay true to God, whether you live or die. You die serving God. I don't care who you marry. You die serving God. I don't care who you marry. I don't care who you're in love with. You die serving God. Ask Samson. You die serving God. And you don't know why God is putting certain people together. You die. You know what? Forget that. I ain't finished reading. Forget that. And Deborah, prophetess, the wife of Labadoth, she judged Israel at that time. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel and Mount Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinadab, out of the Kedesh Naphtali, and said unto him, Hath not the Lord God of Israel commanded, saying, Go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali, and of the children of Zebulun? And will I draw unto thee the river Kishon, Sisera, the captains of Jabin's army, and his chariots, and his multitude, and I will deliver him into thine hand. And Barak said to her, If thou wilt go with me, then I will go. But if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. And she said, I will surely go with thee. Notwithstanding, the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor. For the Lord shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh, Barack Obama. And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh. And he went up with 10,000 men at his feet, and Deborah went up with him. She was a prophet, great woman. Now Heber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobah, the father-in-law of Moses, had served himself from the Kenites and pitched his tent into the plain of Zanaim, which is by Kadesh. And they showed Sisera that Barak, the son of Abam, was gone up to Mount Tabor. And Sisera gathered together all his chariots, even 900 chariots of iron, and all the people that were with him, from Harosheth of the Gentiles unto the river of Kishon. And Deborah said unto Barak, Up, for this is the day in which the Lord hath delivered Sisera into thine hand. Is not the Lord gone out before thee? So Barak went up down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. And the Lord discomforted Sisera and all his chariots and all his hosts with the edge of the sword before Barak. So the Sisera lighted down off his chariot and fled away on his feet. But Barak pursued after the chariots and after the host until Harosheth of the Gentiles, and all the hosts of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword, and there was not a man left. Howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber, and Kenite. For there was peace between Jabin and king of Hazar, and the house of Heber the Canaanite. And Jael went out to meet Sisera, and said unto him, Turn in, my lord, turn in me. Fear not. And when he had turned into her, into the tent, she covered him with a mantle. And he said unto her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk and gave him drink, and covered him. Again he said unto her, Stand in the door of the tent. And it shall be, when any man doth come and inquire of thee, and say, Is there any man here? That thou shalt say, No. Then Jael's Heber's wife took a nail of the tent, and took a hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temples, and fastened it into the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. And behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him, said unto him, Come, and I will show thee the man whom thou seekest. And when he came into her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail was in his temple. So God subdued on that day Jabin the king of Canaan before the children of Israel, and the hand of the children of Israel prospered and prevailed against Jabin the king of Canaan, until they had destroyed Jabin of Canaan. God can use women for many things. Whatever the doctor ordered, Do you understand? Let me pause and I will continue. Hopefully this might be the conclusion, next verse. I don't know.